I use Google Chrome all the time, and I never really bothered to learn how to properly optimize it. And I want to give you a bunch of quick tips based on my learnings. If you go into Google's settings here, go in the upper right-hand corner, these three dots, go down and go to settings. When you open this up, I want you to search first memory saver. This does exactly like you think it would, but it wasn't actually turned on for any of my Chrome profiles. So when you turn this on, what it does is if you hover over something in the tab right here, you can see that one tab is using 209 megabytes of memory usage. This will actually turn it off and make it inactive after probably about a couple hours. What it'll look like is, I'll show you on the screen right now, it'll look like a half circle and a half dotted circle to let you know that is an inactive tab. And you can just click on it to make it reactivate. The other thing that you should consider doing when you're in settings is go on the left-hand side on startup. You can open specific set of pages. I have specific pages that I use a lot, pop open, so when I turn on my computer, it's just setting up and much easier to get up and running. The other thing I want you to look at is in search engine. When you click here and you click the down arrow and we scroll down to site search, I find this really helpful. I use Google Drive a lot, and what I do is I set up a specific shortcut where all I have to do is search GD in space, and I can search through Drive. This is helpful because if I open up my personal profile here, all the time I would search Drive and I'd pull it open, and then I'd be like, oh shoot, this is my personal one. Then I'd have to go and hover over here, change the profile out, and go to my business one. What I've done now is, what you can notice is this is a very light theme for my personal Gmail account. And then for my business account, I've decided to go into dark mode. Why don't I talk about that real quick? I jump around a lot. I got ADHD, just deal with it. But in appearance right here, mode, this is dark. And then I have it just in light mode for my personal. So this is super helpful, because what it does is if I'm making a calendar appointment, it visually tells me this is my personal, this is my business, and it's helped to reduce those mistakes that I made where I just don't realize I'm in the other profile. So the other thing that we were just talking about was how I have that shortcut set up. So again, search engine, go down, and I have these shortcuts that you can make custom ones. So now I know I'm in the right one, and I'm like, oh, I want that ADHD script I'm working on. So I search ADHD, and in the right profile, it's pulling up all these scripts. I make a bunch of video content to help entrepreneurs with ADHD optimize and organize their life. So that's what that's about. But why don't we go back and do a little bit more inside of here? The one thing that you need to realize, though, that I didn't really have a full understanding of, upper right-hand corner, you can see this says work. This is my browser profile. This one is my Google account. Now, the difference for these is what you can see is this browser profile right now, I only have a couple extensions open. If I go to the other one, that's my personal, I have a bunch of extensions. I also have a lot more saved bookmarks. So that's what happens on the browser profile level. And on this level, it's just your Google accounts. So your Gmail, your calendar, your personal drive, whatever it is, right? So this might be problematic is if you're trying to separate your work and personal. What I like to do, I can show you really quick, is on my personal laptop here, I'll put in my personal accounts, and then on the external monitors that I have, that's where I'll have dark mode with my work accounts, all right? So it just, again, MacBook right here is personal, then I have my work accounts to the right, just to kind of separate the two. The other thing you can do is if you don't have multiple monitors, is you can actually do a split view on tabs. So if you right click this and I say add to new split view, what you can see is now I can have open, maybe I want to open up my bookmarks bar, I have a split view. So if you have one monitor, this is really helpful. What I can do is right click on this, arrange split view, and I'm just going to close the right view to go back to the full view menu. Another thing that's helpful are groups. So if I right click on this one and I say add tab to group, new group, and I'm just going to call this Google accounts. All right. So what I might want to do is like have a group that has my calendar, my Google Drive. I'm going to pull my email into this. I'm going to pull in my calendar into this. And you can see it's really easy because you can see that little blue outline is all going into Google accounts. If I want to right click on this, I can change that color and do these things really easily. And this is nice because then you can pull those groups over to the side, and then you can very quickly open and close them. If they're closed, I believe you can click down here to open them up, but you can't close them from down here. You have to close them from up here. So these little groups are helpful. I use those for the things that I'm using all the time. So maybe it's a project I'm working on right now. And then bookmarks are reserved for things that I may not visit as frequently. Now, an issue that you may run into is if you have multiple Chrome profiles. One thing I would suggest first is just clicking up here, going down, managing Chrome profiles, and just start deleting the ones that you're not actually using. So now I'm down to just my work and personal. They have different profiles, so I can easily recognize that as well. So let's say that I want to share my passwords from this personal profile to my work one. Upper right-hand corner, I want you to click here, and then I want you to go down to Passwords and Autofill and Google Password Manager. Then what I want you to do is go to Settings here, and I believe, yep, it's right here. You can go down to this section here, Export Passwords, and download the file. And then I'm just going to quickly download that file. These are my Chrome passwords. I'm going to say personal on here just so I know. And when I go into my work profile, you can double click to make this fill up the screen here. Same thing, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go into Passwords, Autofill, Google Password Manager, Settings, and Import. And then I can simply select that Google password profile, and now all of my passwords are going to be shared to my business profile as well. The one thing I'll make mention on is if you go to a page that you are going to for the first time on this new browser profile, it may ask for a one-time passcode just because it doesn't recognize this profile. But after you do that, then it'll always get in without having to be prompted with any kind of password. Now, the other thing too is right-click on the three dots. You can also go to your bookmark and list, and I want you to go to Open Bookmarks Manager. Go to the upper right-hand corner here, these three dots, and then Export Bookmarks. You can download this CSV file and then import it in the same way on the other profile. So I'm going to replace it because I've already done this, but I would go in here, click the three dots, Bookmarks, go to Bookmark Manager, go to the three dots, Import, and then I'll be able to import those bookmarks to make them the same. This channel is mostly about using modern technology and optimizing it to manage ADHD, especially if you're an entrepreneur. And the next video on the screen right here is how I use my Apple Watch to stay organized and on top of things. So I'll catch you in that next video, and I really appreciate you subscribing and following along on this journey. All right, I'll catch you in the next video.